Hello, welcome back to this Canford Life Podcast. I've got two guests with me today, so the two heads of school, Emma and Joe.
Hello.
Hello.
Joe on my right and Emma on my left. So Joe, just tell me a bit about yourself first for the listeners here.
Well, my name's Joe Nalbantoglu. I'm 17 years old. I live in Wimborne, Minster. At the moment, I'm studying economics, maths, and RS. That's all you've got to really know about me, to be honest. So that's about it.
I'm Emma, and I live in Hong Kong. And right now, I'm studying English, history, and RS.
So Joe, what do you try and get up to in your pastime, really?
Well, my free time.
Yeah, well, sort of, I guess co-curricular and free time, really.
Well, co-curricular. Well, rugby's a massive one for me.
Yeah.
At the moment, first team having a pretty good season so far. We beat Portsmouth Grammar 64-0 last weekend. So that was a pretty good result considering we lost them last season. So things are looking up. We've got.
Well, I guess compared to last season, it can only
it
go up.
It can only get better, exactly. Got Bishop's Wordsworth on
It's
Thursday.
difficult on that.
Yeah, they're a pretty physical side. They were really strong in the year above me. So last time we played them, it was an interesting game. But this time, we'll see if we can beat them. It'll be good.
Okay, so Emma, what do you sort of like to get up to on the side? I know you did a bit of drama, but previously.
Drama, probably the biggest one for me. Right now, I'm in Chicago. I'm Velma in Chicago. So doing rehearsals for that right now.
Yeah, so pretty busy, I presume.
I'm really busy, yeah.
Quick question, what is Chicago actually about? I don't actually know anything about it.
Yeah, neither do I, so I think we're going to have to
It's basically
go into
about,
detail about that.
basically there's like two women. One's called Velma and one's called Roxy.
No spoilers, by the way, no spoilers.
Yeah,
No spoilers?
Yeah.
Joe and I will be there.
Okay, fine. I can't...
It's just like...
And they
Intro,
basically
yeah.
kill their husbands. So it's set in a jail, and it's like they're called the Merry Murderesses.
This is nuts.
And they kill their husbands, and they get really famous because it's all about making a point about like 1920s society, how like Bonnie and Clyde and people got really famous, like criminals got really famous. It's all about like that and like the glamorization of criminals.
So they killed their husbands to...
Just because they didn't like them. Well,
Okay.
my character, her sister was and her husband was cheating on her with her sister,
see,
so she killed both of them.
He wasn't just like an annoying man.
Well, some of them do just kill them because they're
annoying.
annoying. Yeah.
That's one of the worst
Oh.
ways.
So you're doing this at school, yeah?
Yeah.
In the theatre?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There's like literally rehearsals going on right now over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Missing the rehearsals for the podcast then?
No, I'm not in those ones.
Oh, right. Well, that's...
That'd be commitment.
Yeah, we'd feel very honoured. Anyway, I guess we'll get sort of down to business, as it were. So just for the listeners, so today I think we're going to talk about our futures and, what life after Canford sort of holds for us. Do either of you want to go? So, Joe, do you want to start off? So I think we'll start off whether we want to go to university or we fancy something else, say an apprenticeship or.
Well, I've considered the options. I'm gonna keep looking for a degree apprenticeship because I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
If I can't find one that really suits me, which I think is super important for something like that, because you are working hard. So if it doesn't really suit you, then probably shouldn't go into it. But at the moment, it's looking like university. So Bath, Exeter, Loughborough, Newcastle. I need to look around LSE before I actually decide on that. But I want to study politics and economics. Do that. Might do a bit of maritime law here and there. I'm not sure. That's kind of like a side.
What is maritime
Yeah,
law?
you're going to
Can
have
you
to
just confirm that for me?
just
Right.
go into that a little bit because that's, sort of quite niche, I'd say.
I thought
Well-
maritime was like boats.
Correct. So ocean law. So if you live in a regular country, right, you have to obey, the strict laws and guidelines of the land. So for example, in England, you can't murder someone on the street. That's
I'd
or
say
your
that's
husband, for example. That's usually frowned upon.
relating it back to
against the law.
Chicago.
Yeah, fair.
However, on the international waters, which obviously they don't actually belong to anyone. There aren't any laws that belong to a single nation attributed to these international waters. So this is when maritime law kicks in, which is actually quite an interesting one.
I can really imagine. I can imagine there are a few grey areas and loopholes in that one.
Yeah.
So you have to like make up your own like laws basically.
No. I'll give you a bit of an example. So during the what was it called when alcohol was banned in America?
The Prohibition.
Prohibition, right? So during the Prohibition, you get these boats, right?
These boats.
Right? Stacked with alcohol, absolutely stacked. People would hop onto them. They would boat out outside of the waters into international waters, and they'd have a massive party out there. And this is because the boat would be registered in, for example, Panama, so it abides by the rules of Panama rather than the USA. Once it is in international waters, when you're in national waters, once this boat was in American waters, they had to lock up shop, no alcohol and that sort of stuff. But as soon as it was in international waters, it's Panama rules, right? It's basically a free for all. So they had a great time on those boats.
I'm sure they did in the Prohibition.
During the Prohibition.
So Joe, just go over what your A levels are again.
Right, so economics, maths and RS.
Oh right, so you can certainly see how the law comes in there. I can sort of RS, the philosophy and ethics and RS, and then obviously economics if you're planning on doing an economics degree.
For sure.
I'd say it's pretty vital. Anyway, Emma, on to you. So what are you sort of planning to do with life after Canford?
I think definitely university for me. I never really considered an apprenticeship for me, just because I kind of want the experience of university. And for me, I think because I'm doing right now RS, English, history, I want to do philosophy and English at Durham or Edinburgh or St Andrews. Those are my top three.
Far away.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And after that, possibly a law conversion, maybe into criminal law. I'm really interested in criminal law.
Maritime law, maybe.
Yeah, maybe maritime law. After this,
I mean, that would be
maybe.
I'd say that would be an achievement at a school to have two maritime law law students, law practices.
Sorry to cut you off there, Emma. Carry on.
Carol, yeah,
sorry. Or I might go into something to do with English, like publishing or editing. Journalism. Yeah,
Ooh.
but my dream would be to be on the stage, but that's just probably not going to happen.
Like an actor?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Bring.
If I could do anything, I'd be an actress.
I could see you in Hollywood.
Anything.
Definitely.
Or I do film, actually.
Broadway? Or
film.
A bit of both, maybe.
Yeah.
Dabble in Broadway.
Maybe,
Well, you get some that do everything. Like Idris Elba. I mean, what can't that man do?
DJ.
Actor, rapper. I mean, it's incredible.
You could go on. I think did he go into martial arts at some point?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, possibly.
Guys, that's going to be me.
We'll see. Well, I guess we'll see it in 10 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So, how do you think Canford sort of set you up for university and beyond? Really,
I like that they have really let us make our own decision about things. They haven't pushed us towards any sort of subjects or kind of particular universities. It's very much down to you and what you want to do, which I think is fantastic. And they will support you as much as they can on your decision, because at the end of the day, it should be your decision because it's your life, isn't it?
Yeah, I really agree on that. I mean, personally, I want to do archaeology at university, which is a bit,
incredible.
I mean, we think maritime law is niche, but
yeah, God, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, fascinating. I think. Anyway,
didn't you do a dig?
Oh yeah, I did. I did go off on a dig in the summer at sunny Cornwall. Digging up a nice Bronze Age settlement. Got me very excited.
Tell me more about this Bronze Age settlement.
Well, Joe, obviously the dig is still in process, so there's not too much to, say about it. But it was, I mean, you're basically making a lot of educated guesses about what's really going on.
Right.
Do you have to do physical digging, or do you just look at all the stuff that people dig up?
Well, so I was So we were excavating this sort of path thing, quite hard to explain. And so we were digging that, but it's not really digging. It's sort of, quite small scale trowels, little brushes, yeah. And then on the rainy days, you go and sort of try and piece everything together, and a bit of pot washing, which is not too interesting, but I found the whole thing fascinating. I love my classics, so.
So how Bronze Age? How old is that exactly?
Well, exactly. It's about so where we were digging was about 4,500 years old, which is quite incredible. And I found that insane to stand where someone 4.5 years ago did. And I found that
1,000 years ago.
I thought that was quite incredible.
4.5 years ago isn't so impressive.
1,000 years ago, indeed.
That's more impressive.
Yeah, there we go. So this is an interesting one. Do you have any regrets about the subjects you chose, or is there anything looking back on after starting A-levels that you would have rather done? Because for me, I'd probably... So I started off with economics, maths, chemistry, and classics, and I probably wouldn't have done economics, to be honest.
Ooh, interesting. What makes you say that?
I think I just did economics because I thought it would be beneficial to I wasn't planning on finishing off the economics A-level, which probably was the start of a bad decision, but I just think I did it because possibly maybe people around me were sort of pushing me towards it, saying it would be beneficial if I wanted to go into the city after school, after university. And I think I probably could have done something which, a bit more engaging for me, obviously, economics.
And are you still doing economics?
No, I dropped that one in lower sixth pretty swiftly.
Yeah, I did start off with politics as well as English, RS and history. I dropped that.
Too many essays.
No, I just couldn't do politics, so I dropped that after 3 weeks. But I'd say that I actually probably regret not doing classics at GCSE and then at A-level.
Classics as in Latin or classic?
No, as in classic.
Yeah, I couldn't recommend it enough. So interesting.
Yeah, I should have done it for GCSE instead of geography. And then I wish I could have done that instead of history at A-level, because history is really hard at A-level. I can't do it anymore, so...
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. And I mean, I'm hoping to do a classic special at some point, so we won't go into it too much.
Please, let me be there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, I guess.
We'll see.
We're hoping to bring back an OC.
Oh, you
OC?
wouldn't.
Yeah, an OC,
Who?
Old Canfordian, George Vaughan.
We have a
Really?
classics legend.
Classics legend, off to study.
Perhaps coming back.
Yeah, off to study at Exeter, actually.
Is he doing classics at Exeter?
Yeah, he is.
That's pretty cool.
So
we'll have some professional
and hopefully the legendary Mr. Dant.
Oh yes.
You kidding me?
Well,
That's
I guess
incredible.
Maybe we'll have to be a live show.
I'll turn up and watch that.
Me too.
Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah. My problem with my choices is that I want to study more. I wish I could take 9 A-levels. Obviously, I don't have the time of day and capacity for that. But I just wish I could.
Wow, Jay.
Just, physics.
I mean, I can sort of see where you're coming from. I'd quite like to. I feel like I want sort of more almost. Yeah. Like I want to do.
I don't.
Maybe.
I want to broaden my horizons.
I'd love to do history.
Yeah.
No,
or I don't know why I've never.
But not.
History is so hard.
I mean, if it was easier and less content.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to learn about history if there wasn't an exam at the end.
Yeah, I'd do that the same thing. I wish
I
wish I could do drama as well as an A-level.
Did you didn't start off with drama then?
No, because I was like, how is it going to help me?
Well, you see, that's sort of the opposite of what I thought with economics.
Yeah.
So.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, very interesting.
So sometimes with your A-level choices, you got to think, what am I good at? But then you've also got to think, what do I enjoy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any fifth formers right now, listen to that. What do you enjoy is probably more important, realistically.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree on that.
You could be incredible at something, but if you don't enjoy it, you're going to struggle a lot to...
To be fair, though, it's mostly linked. If you're incredible at something, you probably enjoy it.
Yeah, because
I
think
yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially for the rowers.
Yeah.
The amount of time and sort of dedication you have to put in. I guess it's sort of the same with a subject. If you love something and you're willing to put so much time into it, which, like we said, makes it a lot easier to do better in it.
For sure. Yeah. That's a good analogy, with the rowing. The hours you put in, they pay off in the end, but you've got to love it to do it.
Exactly, Joe. Like when we were on the start line at Henley.
Worth it. Worth every hour of training.
Definitely.
All 1,000.
Do you still do rowing, Joe?
At the moment, I'm not. I do the morning
sessions.
Yeah, I do the morning sessions. Keep up a bit. But
well, Joe, you're actually a rowing scholar, aren't you?
I am.
I thought you were a rugby scholar.
And a rowing scholar.
Wow.
Yeah, paradoxically.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
I'm the wrong build, but I try my best. So.
What's the right build?
Probably about Hamish's build. Fairly tall and athletic. Yeah.
I feel flattered, Joe.
You're welcome.
Athletic. So earlier on, we were talking about our sort of futures and life beyond Canford, really, and I'm still sort of stuck on this law thing.
Okay.
So we're just going to bring it back to that. So Joe and Emma, given we've somehow managed to get 2 potential law students,
maritime.
I mean, to be fair, like a lot of people are professional law students because it's just kind of the thing that everyone does.
Fair enough. Sure. I disagree with that actually.
I've heard so many people saying they want to do law.
I just want to learn about it,
Yeah. Joe, you seem.
But also being a maritime lawyer would be epic.
I think that would be so cool.
I love the sea.
Yeah. Same.
I think being a criminal lawyer would be
probably more interesting.
And like I spoke to a criminal lawyer at the careers day, and he was like,
not a boring day, I presume.
No, he was like, he was telling us about all the cases to deal with, and he literally and everyone else found it really scary because he had to go home and forget about like these people who'd like murdered people and how he was defending them, and then how he'd defend people who he thought were guilty and he wouldn't care.
Really?
Which I find really interesting. Like I'm not.
I mean, that is fascinating. To be fair, that from an ethical view, I think having I could sort of get behind that if I was a criminal lawyer. However, because I think law. I mean, this is getting a little bit deep, but you have to have a good lawyer on each side who not necessarily believes in it, but you've got to challenge the evidence. Otherwise, you can't really find out who's innocent or guilty. And
like everyone has a right to a free trial, so
yeah, exactly.
You need a lawyer to defend you, no matter even if a lawyer thinks you're guilty, you still need a lawyer.
You guys have seen Bridge of Spies, right?
Yes.
Just
Wait,
like
what is that? The one where
I cannot.
He was a lawyer. He's an American lawyer, and had to defend I think it was someone from the Soviet Union.
Isn't that the one where they swap spies?
Might be, but he obviously, from an American point of view, shouldn't, and everyone was advising him not to defend him as best he could. But he was a very good lawyer. He was a man with a good conscience, and he did his best to defend this man. And I'm pretty sure he was proven innocent in the end.
This interestingly, you say that, Joe. In this book I was reading, I can't actually remember the full details of it, but it was so it's about the life of Cicero. I think I've talked to it about Sean before. Joe.
Yeah, hello.
I've talked to it to Joe before. So it's a trilogy on Cicero and by Robert Harris, and it talks about this law case where he's this man who is clearly guilty. I think it's a governor of Macedonia or something. I can't remember the facts. And Cicero originally chooses to sort of defend him, knowing that it will lose him the popularity of the people, which he's known for almost. So Cicero he starts off defending them, and then I think he then his wife and his brother, or possibly not his wife, just his brother, sort of guilts him out of saying, how can you defend this man? He's possibly killed 1,000 Roman citizens, and he's stolen so much. I think it's one of those ones which is just sort of challenges the ethics, and it was like you said in Bridge of Spies, possibly.
So what was Cicero's motivation for defending this man?
So Cicero, I think, multiple reasons. I'd say one of the main ones was possibly to get the support of the patricians in the Senate, and then he was also going to get a lot of money from it. A lot of technically he couldn't be paid for it, but he'd get a lot of indirect quote unquote donations.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, the thing is, criminal lawyers don't get other. I think they're like the lowest earning lawyers.
Yeah, they don't often get.
They don't get paid
donations.
Very much. Interesting considering they do sort of like some of the hardest work, I guess. Well, I'm not actually sure. I'm not an expert in law, but
yeah, my main motivation for becoming a maritime lawyer is actually a bit strange. I've always had an attachment to the sea.
Have you?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I can really relate to that.
I've never known that about you.
I can really relate to that.
I've always
bit of a water baby.
Precisely. I was born by the sea in Portsmouth. I then moved to Turkey by the sea. Grew up by the sea, obviously living there. It was incredible. My dad actually studied marine biology at university, so he obviously taught me a lot about the oceans.
Definitely.
And yeah, this has made me very passionate about our oceans and all the life you get there. And possibly my favourite pastime of all is actually snorkeling.
Oh yes.
So I thought to combine several things which I find very interesting, ethics and like marine kind of aquatic just life. I was thinking, like marine lawyer. This is a very interesting one, isn't it?
Well, that's pretty interesting. Or you could be like an environment lawyer, like a marine, like
I think maritime law though. That is
maritime
That is pretty
environmental law, perhaps.
Yeah, we could just mix the two.
That might be a thing. Brainstorming here, guys. My future's in your hands.
Not to be fair, I don't really get I don't like the sea that much.
What? You live on an island?
Yeah, it's just like
Two
not
islands,
my thing, you know?
Isn't it not a peninsula? Am I correct?
Oh no. Oh gosh.
I don't know.
I believe
To be honest, it's part of China.
there is a physical border with China, though, isn't there?
Yes,
Cannot
but it's
be an
like
island.
it is an island. It's like Hong Kong Island, but it's
Oh,
like
really?
yeah. There's like sea around it, but like it's
Oh.
I always had this vision in my head of it being like just a peninsula of China.
no, it's like an actual island.
Oh, right, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, Google image that. Let's get it.
I live on mainland China though.
Oh, you live on...
Well, there's like
So you
there's,
don't
like,
live in
part
Hong
of-
Kong?
No, I do live in Hong Kong. There's like Hong Kong Island, and then there's like some ocean,
Okay.
and there's like a bridge across, and there's a little bit of like Hong Kong that's on the mainland China.
Oh, so this is
So what we've got here is both of us
Yeah.
being right,
Yeah,
This is
there's
which is
like-
always
there's, like,
which is always an upsetting outcome.
no one
Well,
really knows
actually,
what Hong Kong is.
best
To be honest.
outcome.
But like it's like an island, and then a tiny bit of it, which is called the New Territories where I live, is still Hong Kong, but it's on mainland China.
Near
But it's still Hong
Shenzhen,
Kong.
is it?
Yeah, Shenzhen, you are right there, Joe.
Yeah.
Shenzhen, that's in China.
Yeah, but it's,
Yeah, but it's sort of-
nearby.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It takes like an hour and a half to drive to China from where I live.
Oh, really?
Really?
Well, yeah, to get like past the border.
So I
Isn't
guess
it-
sort of slightly going off topic here. What do you think of the things going on in Hong Kong at the moment?
Protests.
The protests, yeah.
Ooh,
Opinions?
controversial. I don't know. I think. Well,
As a potential lawyer,
as such a lawyer, I agree with the cause, definitely. I think that, originally, the original extradition bill, which is basically, do you know what it is?
no, elaborate on that one.
Expand.
I do not know.
The extradition bill basically meant that you could be prosecuted in Hong Kong for a crime and then moved to China, I think. I'm probably not getting the specific right.
I believe it was you can be prosecuted and I think taken to court in China.
Yeah.
For making a crime? Was that the word? For being a criminal in Hong Kong, basically.
Yeah, you could be taken to court in
You can be
China and
tried
you could
and
be tried in
tested.
China,
Okay.
including all foreigners, everyone, all tourists, everyone in
Members
Hong
of
Kong.
Parliament.
So
Especially
anyone
so-
living in Hong Kong would be under the law of China.
Yeah, so basically
Yes.
people were upset because they thought that China would try to use that to like
Political
they'd
political gain.
like
believe so.
try people and they'd like arrest people and convict people for like political crimes kind of in Hong Kong but it's been shut down basically.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
that was the original thing they were protesting, and now they're just generally protesting again for democracy and against Hong Kong police.
Right.
Isn't it by law that it is now China, isn't it, Hong Kong? Am I correct?
Yeah, Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong officially becomes part of China in like 2040. There's like
Oh, right,
the
okay.
official,
So
the
Hong
official
Kong
handing
will-
over where China like properly takes over. I'm not 100% sure. I'm
So
not
we're in a
very
buffer
clear.
period right now.
I
Yeah,
guess you could call it
they
that,
still are
Joe.
technically part of China, but
I
it's
guess
like
you could call it that.
yeah. I'm not an expert on it, so I'm not really sure. But
Well, it's quite funny. If you look at the border between China and Hong Kong, from pictures that I've seen, it's very green on the Hong Kong side. And as soon as there
Yeah,
is the border, there's these enormous high-rises.
yeah, Hong Kong is this like massive jungle, and then there's
Mm.
China, which is
A lot of urban
Yeah.
jungle. Urban jungle to real jungle.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd
pretty
definitely
cool.
love to go to Hong Kong at some point. Anyway,
Interesting.
briefly, because we're sort of running out of time here, I think. So I think we're just gonna sort of address the whole gap year thing. So firstly, I know we've had a few gap year fairs at school, so I want to sort of know how those have influenced us, and then I think we can sort of go into what we're planning on doing.
Well, actually, I've taken the decision to actually not take a gap year.
Okay, so how have you come to that, Joe?
Well, I'm just so excited to go to university, really. Just the whole experience of it. Whether I go to a degree apprenticeship or not, I just feel like just learning more about the subjects that I love is a really, really just exciting prospect.
To be fair, I've completely had that debate. I would love to just start doing archaeology as soon as possible, but I've sort of decided that I'm going to, the goal is to go over to New Zealand for a year and go and teach at one of the schools there, so teach classics and coach rowing.
That is pretty cool.
And that is literally the dream for me.
That's an incredible.
So kind of
and
like
then go
a
to uni.
gappy, but like before.
Well,
uni.
you see, I had sort of gappies who at my old school who were all pre-university.
Okay, so we're literally just out of school.
Yeah, straight out of school.
That's quite cool. Yeah, I think as much as I want to, I'm kind of conflicted because I want to start as soon as possible, but also I feel like it's one of my only opportunities to actually do this and actually like go out. So I think I'm gonna go work at an orphanage in Cambodia.
Whoa.
But I also have a possibility of, we know people who own a wildlife reserve in Kenya. And so I also have the opportunity to go and work in a wildlife reserve in Kenya.
That is epic.
That is really cool.
But yeah, for at least 6 months of it though, I'll just be working to actually earn enough money to go do that. And then also I have so many plans like with friends and stuff to go travelling, so I just have too much stuff to do.
Can I come to this wildlife reserve with you?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I thought you're going straight to uni though.
I'll probably spend a bit of time.
I mean, guess as the summer holidays.
There is indeed.
And so I know we've had a few sort of overseas universities come and visit us. So just wondering, have any like overseas? Has sort of like going to university overseas appealed to either of you? I mean, personally for me, I just sort of think about it, but then, you know, I think after university, it's going to be quite, because you make a lot of friends at university and it would be quite difficult to stay in touch with these people and go in sort of life with them.
Yeah,
if I go away.
I agree completely. I actually did look into the States option, so studying in the States. But in the end, I just decided that it's just so far away. I'm not even willing to go as far as Durham for university. I want to stay like Midlands most.
Really?
Look.
Why? Just
because.
But you're from Turkey, Joe.
Well, look, I've travelled to Turkey. That's only a 4-hour flight, but it takes about 6 hours on the train to get to Durham.
I guess that is fair enough.
It took 9 hours the other day for me to drive down from Edinburgh.
It was a 7-hour train journey for me to go to the open day, so I can sort of see.
It's £120 on the train. I think. Yeah, the furthest that I'm personally willing to go is Loughborough, which, you know, it's not far away, but it's not exactly close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I did consider Amsterdam at one point because I went to Amsterdam like last 2 summers ago.
Very good university there.
And and we were in Amsterdam and we looked around the university and it was amazing. And also they teach all the classes there in English. And
ideal.
And it's just it's literally my favourite city in Europe, so I love Amsterdam, but I just like decided again I don't want to be that far away, and if I make really good friends there, then I'm not going to be able to keep as in good contact with them because I want to come back and work in England. So I just thought, well, it's still on the cards, but
yeah, I had this same debate with myself with so the Bosphorus University in Turkey, which is in Istanbul.
So
I actually spent a lot of time researching it. I had a little look around the university. I then looked at the world rankings, and it didn't even compare to English universities. So for me, that was kind of the big thing for it. So
okay, well, I guess we're gonna have to wrap it up there because I think we've all got somewhere to be. So
supper.
I think we'll call it a day there.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming along, guys. It's been great to have a chat with.
My pleasure.
yeah, it's been good.
Good chat.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. This has been the This Canford Life podcast. Bye for now.